Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast by English Finders. I'm your host, Emilia, and I'm thrilled to join with my co-host, Liam. We are so excited to have you join us for our 19th episode. Today, we have a very important topic to discuss, something that many English learners struggle with: overcoming the fear of speaking English.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm really looking forward to diving into this topic because I know firsthand how challenging it can be to feel confident speaking English.
Exactly. In today's episode, we'll be breaking down the common fears that hold people back from speaking English, and we'll be sharing practical strategies to help you build confidence and start speaking more fluently. We will also have some real-life dialogues and key vocabulary words to help you on your learning journey.
That's right. So whether you're just starting out or you've been learning English for a while, this episode is packed with tips and encouragement to help you overcome those fears.
So, let's dive into today's topic: overcoming the fear of speaking English. Liam, I think we can both agree that this is something almost every English learner faces at some point.
Absolutely, Emilia. The fear of speaking English can be paralyzing for many learners. It's like there's this invisible barrier that stops you from expressing yourself freely, even if you know the language.
Yes, and it's completely normal to feel that way. I think the first step is understanding where that fear comes from. For many, it's the fear of making mistakes. No one likes to feel embarrassed or judged, especially when they're trying to communicate.
Right. That fear of judgment can be really intense. We often worry about what others might think if we say something wrong, mispronounce a word, or struggle to find the right phrase. But here's the thing: everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers.
Exactly. And making mistakes is actually a crucial part of the learning process. The more you speak, the more you learn, and the more confident you become. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
That's a great analogy. Confidence doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's built over time through practice. One of the best ways to start overcoming this fear is by creating a positive and supportive environment for yourself. Surround yourself with people who encourage you to speak and who are patient when you make mistakes.
Yes, that's so important. Finding a language partner or a group where you feel comfortable practicing can make a huge difference. Even just talking to yourself in English, like thinking out loud or practicing in front of a mirror, can help reduce anxiety.
Another key strategy is exposure. The more you expose yourself to English in different contexts, whether it's through listening to podcasts, watching movies, or even trying to speak in everyday situations, the less intimidating it becomes. Over time, you'll start to feel more comfortable and less fearful.
And let's not forget about the power of positive thinking. It's easy to get stuck in a negative mindset where you're constantly doubting yourself. But if you flip the script and start telling yourself that it's okay to make mistakes, that it's all part of learning, you'll find it much easier to speak up.
Absolutely. I think it's also helpful to set small, achievable goals. Don't try to do everything at once. Start with something simple, like ordering food in English, and gradually work your way up to more complex conversations. Each small success will build your confidence.
And remember, everyone's journey is different. It's okay to take your time and move at your own pace. What's important is that you keep pushing yourself to speak, even when it feels uncomfortable.
Exactly. The more you push through that discomfort, the more it will fade away. Over time, speaking English will start to feel more natural, and that fear will begin to diminish.
Well said, Liam. So to all our listeners out there, don't let fear hold you back. Embrace the learning process, make mistakes, and keep practicing. You've got this.
And remember, we're here to support you every step of the way.
Now let's move on to our next segment, where we'll listen to a real-life dialogue between two friends who are also dealing with the fear of speaking English.
Hey, Lucas. I've been really nervous about speaking English at work lately. Every time I have to talk to my colleagues, I just freeze up. I feel like they're all judging me whenever I make a mistake.
I totally get that, Sophie. I used to feel the same way when I started my job. It's like your mind goes blank the moment you need to say something in English, right?
Exactly. I know the words in my head, but when it's time to speak, I just can't seem to get them out. And then I worry that I'm going to say something wrong and embarrass myself.
Yeah, that fear is really common. But you know what helped me? I started practicing with a friend before going into those situations. We'd role-play different scenarios, like a meeting or a casual conversation. It made me feel a lot more prepared.
That sounds like a good idea. Maybe we could try that sometime?
Of course. In fact, why don't we do a quick practice right now? Let's pretend you're ordering coffee at a cafe. I'll be the barista. Ready?
Okay, let's do it. Good morning. Can I get a medium latte, please?
Sure. Would you like any sugar or syrup with that?
Yes, I'll take sugar, please.
Great choice. Anything else for you today?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Awesome. You did great, Sophie. See, that wasn't so bad, right?
It actually felt pretty good. I think the more I practice like this, the less nervous I'll be when it's the real thing.
Exactly. And remember, even if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. People are usually more understanding than we think. The important thing is that you're trying, and that's how you improve.
Thanks, Lucas. I feel a lot better about this now. I'm going to keep practicing and remind myself that it's okay to make mistakes.
You've got this, Sophie. Anytime you need to practice or just talk, I'm here for you.
Thanks, Lucas. I really appreciate your help.
All right, now that we've talked about overcoming the fear of speaking English, let's dive into some key vocabulary words and phrases that came up during our discussion.
Great idea, Emilia. These words are really useful, especially when you're talking about confidence and overcoming challenges. Let's break them down, shall we?
Let's start with the word anxiety. This is something we all feel from time to time, especially when we're nervous about something. Anxiety is that uneasy feeling you get when you're worried about what might happen.
Exactly. For example, you might say, I feel anxiety whenever I have to speak English in front of others. It's important to remember that it's okay to feel anxious. It's a normal part of learning.
That's a good point, Liam. The next word is confidence. Now, confidence is what we all strive for, right? It's the feeling of being sure about your abilities. When you have confidence, you believe in yourself and your skills.
Yep. You could say, with more practice, my confidence in speaking English has really improved. And the best way to build confidence is by taking small steps and celebrating your progress along the way.
Totally agree. The third word is judgment. This is something many of us worry about, what others might think or say about us. Judgment is when people form opinions about you, and sometimes that can be intimidating.
Definitely. But it's important to remember that everyone makes mistakes, and most people aren't judging you as harshly as you might think. You could use it in a sentence like, I was afraid of judgment, but then I realized everyone is just focused on their own progress.
Exactly. Next up is exposure. This is all about how often you come into contact with something. The more exposure you have to English, the more familiar and comfortable you'll become with it.
That's right. For example, increased exposure to English through podcasts and movies has helped me understand the language better. It's all about surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible.
And finally, we have encouragement. This is something we all need, a little boost from someone else to keep us going. Encouragement is when someone supports you and motivates you to keep trying.
Exactly. A good example would be, my friends gave me a lot of encouragement when I was too scared to speak English. Encouragement can make all the difference when you're facing a challenge.
So, To recap, we've got anxiety, confidence, judgment, exposure, and encouragement. These words are not just important for learning English, but also for life in general.
Absolutely. And the more you understand and use these words, the more empowered you'll feel in your English learning journey.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered a lot of ground on overcoming the fear of speaking English, and we hope you found our tips and strategies helpful.
Absolutely. Remember, it's completely normal to feel nervous when speaking a new language, but with practice, exposure, and a positive mindset, you can build the confidence you need to speak English fluently.
And don't forget the importance of support, whether it's from friends, language partners, or even listening to podcasts like this one. Encouragement can really make a difference in your learning journey.
Exactly. We want to encourage you to take small steps every day, whether it's practicing with a friend, speaking out loud to yourself, or simply listening to more English content. Every little bit helps.
And if you ever feel discouraged, just remember, you're not alone. We all face challenges, but with persistence and the right mindset, you can overcome them.
So true. And if you have any questions or want to share your own experiences, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a comment below.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the 19th episode of the English Learning Podcast. We really appreciate your support and hope you're enjoying this journey with us.
And be sure to join us next time for another exciting episode. Until then, keep practicing, stay positive, and most importantly, don't be afraid to speak up.
Take care, everyone, and happy learning.
Goodbye.